Welcome back to Rekt Radio, the only show on the internet where a sideways market is just a chance to catch our breath before the next rocket launch. I'm Sunny, and folks, the fundamentals have never been stronger.
And I'm Cole, here to remind you that when you're on a rocket, you're essentially sitting on a controlled explosion. The fundamentals I'm seeing involve a lot of sparks, smoke, and people quietly looking for the emergency exit. Let's get into the news before the launch gets scrubbed.
Never, Cole. The mission is a go. And our first stop is the Clash of the Titans, the new world versus the old guard. Tyler Winklevoss just came out and said that JP Morgan Chase deliberately blocked Gemini's access to the U.S. banking system. This is it. The big banks are officially running scared.
Running scared or running a basic risk assessment? Let me get this straight. Gemini, a company operating in the crypto Wild West, gets its banking services cut off by a multi-trillion-dollar heavily regulated financial institution, and your conclusion is that the bank is the one that's scared? This isn't a battle of titans. It's a landlord evicting a tenant who keeps setting off fireworks in the living room.
It's a clear case of anti-competitive behavior. Winklevoss claims it happened right after he publicly criticized Jamie Dimon. So, a powerful CEO uses his bank's immense power to deplatform a competitor because he got his feelings hurt. It's the ultimate validation for why we need decentralized finance in the first place, to escape the whims and personal grudges of these financial gatekeepers. This is the free market in action, fighting back against entrenched monopolies.
Wait, let me jump in here. You're taking Tyler Winklevoss at his word, as if he's some unbiased observer here. He's trying to build a narrative. The more likely story is that JP Morgan's compliance department, which is staffed by thousands of people who are terrified of getting billion-dollar fines from regulators, saw the headline risk and operational hazards of dealing with the crypto space and decided, no thank you. This wasn't a personal vendetta, it was a business decision. It's not about being scared of crypto, it's about being scared of the regulators who are circling crypto like sharks.
It's the same thing, Cole. They use regulation as a weapon to stifle innovation. They know they can't compete with the efficiency and transparency of crypto, so they create a hostile environment to freeze out the pioneers. This isn't about risk, it's about protecting their outdated business model. The fact that they felt the need to shut down a major, regulated player like Gemini proves how threatened they really are.
A regulated player that operates in a largely unregulated global ecosystem. It's like owning a licensed pet store, but all your puppies keep coming from a mystery farm that's on fire. At some point, the landlord says, I don't care how nice your storefront is, the whole operation is a liability. This isn't a sign of crypto's strength, it's a sign of its persistent toxicity to the legacy financial system.
It's a sign that the legacy system is brittle and afraid. But while the old banks are building walls, the smart money in crypto is building bridges to the real world. We're seeing a massive strategic shift in the stablecoin space. It's no longer just about trading or DeFi yields, it's about becoming the backbone of actual payments. It's a genius move toward real utility.
A genius move that's about 5 years too late. They spent a decade building a multi-billion-dollar casino, and now that the regulators are at the door and the traders are running out of steam, they're suddenly pretending it was always meant to be a boring old payment network. This isn't a pivot to utility, it's a desperate search for a legitimate use case to justify their existence.
It is not desperate, it is the natural evolution of the technology. We're talking about programmable payments, cross-border remittances without insane fees, and micropayments for creators. This is what stablecoins were always meant to be. They had to build the financial plumbing first, the DeFi ecosystem, to prove the technology was robust. Now they are deploying it for its ultimate purpose, to make money faster, cheaper, and more accessible for everyone. This is the killer app finally coming online.
The killer app? The existing financial system, for all its faults, can already do this. You're celebrating the invention of a slightly more complicated version of PayPal. And let's not forget who's at the center of this utility push. It's companies that have a vested interest in finding a new narrative. The speculative frenzy is dying down, so they need a new story to tell investors and regulators. The story is, no, we're not a casino chip, we're the future of finance. It's a marketing campaign, not a technological revolution.
You see marketing, I see maturation. Speaking of which, let's talk about projects that are showing incredible strength in the face of market headwinds. LayerZero's ZRO token just had a massive token unlock, a moment that usually sends prices crashing. But what happened? The price rebounded over 11%. That is pure, unadulterated resilience.
Resilience or a dead cat bounce? An 11% rebound after a period of intense selling pressure from a huge unlock is not a sign of strength. It's a sign that a few opportunistic traders decided to scoop up some cheap tokens, creating a temporary squeeze. The article itself says the rebound happened despite major selling pressure. The pressure is still there. The fundamentals haven't changed. There is now a much larger supply of ZRO tokens in the wild than there was a week ago. That's not bullish, that's a ticking time bomb of future sell-offs.
But Cole, you're missing the point. The market absorbed that selling pressure and bounced back with force. That means that the demand for the token, for the technology, was strong enough to soak up all those new sellers and then some. It tells you that the long-term believers and new buyers outnumber the short-term sellers. This wasn't a dead cat bounce. It was a stress test, and LayerZero passed it with flying colors. It shook out the weak hands and consolidated its position.
It passed a stress test? The test has just begun. These unlocks often happen in waves. This isn't a one-and-done event. The people who got these tokens for cheap are now sitting on a nice little profit and wondering when the best time to dump is. That 11% pop is the perfect opportunity for them to find some exit liquidity from optimists like you. This isn't resilience, it's a bull trap designed to lure people in before the next wave of selling begins. It's a brief pause and a downward trend.
It's the market proving its conviction. But I know you're not happy unless we're talking about pure absurdity. So how about this? We just saw a vigilante cybersecurity researcher create a fake Bitcoin ATM network just to waste scammers' time. They built a network of 15 fake ATMs that sent scammers on wild goose chases, wasting over 4,000 hours of their time. It's beautiful, creative chaos for a good cause.
Okay, I have to admit, that's pretty funny. Wasting a scammer's time is a noble public service. But let's not lose sight of the bigger picture here. The fact that a single person can and needs to do this highlights how utterly infested this space is with fraud. This isn't a story about a clever hero, it's a story about a digital environment so lawless that we have to rely on vigilantes to fight back because the official channels are completely overwhelmed.
For every scammer this person distracted, there are 1,000 others who were successfully fleecing someone else. But it's working. It's a proof of concept for how the community can police itself. And it's a hilarious one at that. This is the immune system of a decentralized world in action. But, as always, all roads lead back to the king. Let's pull up the technicals for Bitcoin on TradingView and see what the real story is.
Ah, the daily ritual of staring at the tea leaves. Please, Sonny, tell me what prophecies you found in the charts today.
I found a story of beautiful, powerful, undeniable strength, Cole. The most important indicators on the page, the moving averages, which measure the deep underlying trend of the market, are flashing a strong buy. Not a buy, a strong buy. That is the massive ocean current of this market, and it is pulling us inevitably higher.
You always get mesmerized by the rearview mirror. The moving averages just tell you that the last few months were good. They don't tell you anything about tomorrow. Let's look at the indicators that measure what's happening right now. The oscillators, which track momentum and buying pressure, are sitting on a hard neutral. The engine has completely stalled. There is no power, no acceleration, no energy.
Cole, this is the most bullish possible combination. You have a confirmed strong buy on the long-term trend, which means the macro bull case is locked in, and you have the short-term momentum cooled off to neutral, which means all the speculative, over-leveraged froth has been wiped clean from the system. It's a perfect, healthy consolidation on top of a bedrock of strength. This isn't a stall, it's a high-altitude base camp getting ready for the final ascent to the summit.
That is a terrifyingly optimistic interpretation. The overall summary on the page is just a buy, not a strong buy, precisely because the real-time indicators are screaming that the buyers are exhausted. There is no power, no acceleration, no energy. This isn't a stall, it's a plateau. And a plateau is just a mountain with its top sheared off.